Well, I've backed off a little bit in the sense that I've just had enough of getting in there and debating. I just put it like this: even if man-made climate change was real, I would still be against what they've proposed, because, you know, world carbon taxes and things like this, they cripple the economy. It prevents the third world from industrialising, like Henry Kissinger called for in Memorandum 200. If you can stop other countries from developing by, you know, forcing them into this inefficient, expensive green system, you protect your own interests because they never grow to a point where they can become competition. And a carbon tax basically just allows the world's biggest corporations with the most wealth to dominate the smaller ones. If you're a small company and you want to expand, but you have to buy carbon credits to accommodate your expansion, you're going to be stuck. It's going to be hard. You might not be able to. But the largest companies, the ones that are pushing all of this propaganda, they're going to be the ones that are going to be fine at the end of the day. They're going to be the ones taking over the smaller companies. So even if it was real, I don't see how we're even solving the problem. And personally, anytime they talk about global solutions, I run a mile, because the world isn't supposed to be run by a few powerful people at the UN.
Of course not. I googled the following thing earlier: Al Gore carbon exchange, and this is what came up in Google. Sponsored links: invest in carbon credits. UK leading carbon credits. Invest in our future at greenmarkets.co.uk. Then you've got Carbon Market Reports, the latest news and price on the carbon market. You've got SAP Carbon Management. You've got SAP.com, the Fast Carbon Exchange, Green Market Exchange.com, Carbon Warehouse, Carbon Brokers specialising in you've got carbonwarehouse.eu, which is carbon market analysis. And I could continue, but Al Gore's idea of carbon trading, it hasn't exactly went to plan. Al Gore's Chicago Climate Exchange has recently announced that it will no longer be engaging in carbon trading, an activity that was the sole purpose for which it was created. This is an utter failure of purpose in global warming hysteria, yet the old media is almost completely silent on this colossal failure. What do you think about that, the whole climate exchanging, carbon trading world? It's murky.
To me, it's just scary, because with the whole recession, we've kind of seen how stock markets and bubbles can be created based on, you know, nothing, and derivatives. When I hear these things, I'm just thinking, is this just going to be built up into a massive thing that's going to end up collapsing at a later date? I mean, it's just scary to me. And a lot of these green energies and green systems, I mean, where I live, there's loads and loads of wind turbines and things popping up, and they're inefficient. It's not always windy, you know. It seems like a lot of money is being pumped into something that's ultimately going to fail in a few years.
I agree. It seems at the minute, even looking at it from now, that Al Gore's idea of carbon trading is dead. And his Chicago Cock Exchange, that's probably a more appropriate name for it. Al Gore's Chicago Climate Exchange is no longer engaging in carbon trading. I think that's good news. I just want to look at for a second the actual cap and trade system proposed by Al Gore. He wants to put a cap on the production of greenhouse gases. So a cap on the production of greenhouse gases means a cap on the amount of factories that you can have, amount of cars that you can have on the road. Generally put a cap on doing stuff, having too many people, too many kids. Straight away, that's a big warning bell to me, a cap on the production of greenhouse gases, because if they're saying, I mean, farting is a greenhouse gas. So maybe Al Gore wants us to control our flatulence, I don't know. He also calls for an immediate freeze on US emissions and a ban on new coal-fired power plants. He's got a lot of big ideas. Do you think any of this stuff will catch on? Do you think that this thing at Cancun is going to be the big thing, the big deal that they didn't get at Copenhagen?
Well, I certainly hope it doesn't, but you never can tell. I mean, if the US and these powerful people decide to bully the other countries, I mean, they're not going to say no. But what I have been seeing in the headlines, I mean, there seems to be a sort of it seems to be failing, basically. That's what I'm trying to say. There seems to be a sort of nobody really cares anymore, and I think that's a good thing. You know, they're like, oh, this is our last chance, we need to get these things through, but nobody seems to be as receptive as they once were, and I think that's a good thing.
I agree. I just want to, just before you go, just read out some of the emails, because we're coming up to 10 o'clock now. I've had quite a few emails tonight. This email comes in, says, I thought that hanging Saddam Hussein was done very quickly for my liking. They waited in case he told some home truths. Tony Blair should be held accountable for this illegal war. I totally agree with that. Yes, thank you very much. Also, getting back to child protection, he says the child protection people don't do anything about the children in their care. One of my daughters wanted to be taken into care because she didn't like being grounded for misbehaving in school. The school took her to the side and allowed her to be taken into care. After a week, the care home phoned me to tell me my daughter was hanging around a known drug dealer in Cheetham Hill here in Manchester. Ace, thank you very much for your message again. And also, Ruth is getting in touch tonight. She's got a new reggae CD for me, which I'm very excited about. I love a bit of good political reggae for the show. So, Ruth, thank you very much. And I will send you my address very soon, and you can send me your brand new reggae CD. Also, another email comes in. It says, it takes two sides to comply to the Geneva Convention. Where are the people who send bombers all over the place, or the ones who fire missiles into crowded areas? It takes two sides. And well, we have quite a lot here. Final email I'll read tonight is, we are very good at allowing people to fight wars from Britain. We are very good at fighting for people's human rights in other countries. While our human rights are being eroded, we are the most watched country in the world with CCTV, and all our citizens are on one database or another without their knowledge. We cannot move anywhere in Britain. Unfortunately, we are born and registered. At least immigrants have some form of anonymity. Stern words there. Oh, and I think we might just have lost Keelan. We have indeed. But that's pretty much all we have time for tonight anyway, folks. Thank you so much for listening. This has been the Tony Legend Show.